Good morning and good evening, friends. Welcome to goonlinetrainings.com. So, yesterday we spoken about why data engineering is very, very important and what are the things that you need to learn as part of data engineering. And all these things, being discussed in yesterday's class. If you miss yesterday's class, I strongly recommend to watch the yesterday's video. And today, let us talk about how to let us see the demo for today's class. Okay, let us see the agenda for today's class. Okay, today we're going to be talking about completely what is data engineering. So that is what I'm going to be discussing today. And what is a data analytics? That is also we'll discuss today. And what is ETL versus ELT? That is also we'll discuss today. And we'll see what is a big data versus, we have big data. To understand big data, we have various concepts like Hadoop, and we have Apache Spark, Apache Hadoop, and we have Apache Spark as well. Let us understand what is big data and what is Apache Hadoop and Apache Spark. And we'll also understand the term permits, what is data bricks. Clear? So all these things we're going to understand today one by one. Okay, so if you wanted to analyze the data, or if you wanted to perform the data analytics or a data engineering activity, you need to have the data, right? You need to have the data, but the question is, what is the size of the data that you have? When you have small amount of data, when you have megabyte of data, for example, every month you're able to get, let us say, 1,000 rows of data. So all the data you will be able to store in your Excel sheets, or maybe you can use pen and paper. You will be able to store the data in this systems, or you will be able to use Excel sheets. You will be able to store the data, as well as you should be able to process your data. If you have 10 and a 20, these are two numbers. If you wanted to store these numbers, you have to store somewhere. Either you need to use pen and paper and store the data. And the processing means I wanted to know what is the sum, what is the average, or how many numbers I have, that is counting, or I wanted to know what is the minimum, what is the maximum. This is what is called as a computing, or this is what is called as a processing. So IT industry is going to be storing the data. So when you have a small amount of data that you will be able to store in Excel or in a notepad, or if you wanted to process the data, we will be able to use Excel and we will be able to process the data. What is the sum? 10 plus 20 is equal to 30. This is what is called a sum. I wanted to know what is the average. Average is 15. I wanted to count the total numbers 2, right? So what is the minimum? Minimum is 10, maximum is 20. If you wanted to do any kind of a processing, normally the same thing can be done within the Excel sheet. Clear? So IT industry can use different softwares. One of the software is called Excel, where you can store the data and process the data. But when you have large amount of data, so what is the meaning of this? When you have gigabytes of data, think about Amazon.com. Every month it is going to be getting lakhs of data, millions of data. Where will you keep all this data? So you will not be able to store this kind of a data in Excel sheet. IT industry is going to be using SQL, or called as a database management system. It is also called as RDBMS systems, where you will be able to store the data if you wanted to process your data. So this is where IT industry is going to be using a languages. Clear? So now we are talking about large amount of data. Let us say every month you're going to be getting 500 GB of data or 100 GB of data. That much of a data I will not be able to store in Excel software. I need to use SQL called as a database management system or RDBMS. So here we're going to be using a popular software called Oracle, or you can go in for Microsoft SQL Server, right? It is from the Microsoft company, or you can go in for DB2 from IBM company software. So all these are called as SQL or SQL softwares or RDBMS software. It is also from the IBM company. Then we have a PostgreSQL, right? Postgres SQL. People will be calling this as Postgres or Postgre in SQL. So like that, we have thousands of softwares are available in the IT industry. MySQL, which is a free software, anybody can download and anybody can use this Teradata, right? So, and my, Sybase, thousands of RDBMS softwares are available where you will be able to store the data. But if you store the data, that is not sufficient. Somebody has to process the data. So normally language like C or C++ or Java, or you may use the latest language called Python. Python is a very, very easy language. Even though Python is introduced 1980s and 1990s in a IT market, but many people have started using Python today because Python can be learned from any non-technical people. Python is the language which is very, very easy when you compare with the C, C++, Java, .NET or any other language, right? If you wanted to store the data in the IT industry, I'm talking about GBs of data, you will be able to use one such tool. Clear? You may go in for Oracle or a SQL Server or a DB2 or Netezza, anything you can use to store the data. To process your data, we can use one of these languages, right? But now, so in simple understanding, layman terminology, if I have a large amount of blood, where will you store blood bank? If you have a large amount of gold, where will you store gold bank? If you have a large amount of data, where will you store data bank called as a database? Clear? You have a lot of blood banks in the world, right? You have Apollo Hospital blood bank, Kim's Hospital blood bank, Chiranjeevi blood bank. You can go to any blood bank, you will be able to store the data, blood. So like that, you can go to Oracle and store the data. You can go to SQL Server and store the data. You can use DB2 database 2000 and store the data. All right. When you have a large amount of data, you should be able to use what is called as a RDBMS or called as SQL. SQL means structured query languages, which are the tools to store large amount of data. Now, the data is not in GBs today. The data slowly will be in TBs. Means it will be in billions of data. That means we have crores of data. You need to know all these things. We are talking about crores of data, or we're talking about billions of data. When you have billions of data, you will not be able to store them in simple SQL. So this is where we are going to be using data warehouse software or tools. So here we are going to be using Excel tool, SQL tools, right? Like that, when you have a large amount of data, normal RDBMS system is going to be failing. For example, every month you're going to be getting, let us say, Amazon company, every month is getting 500 GB of data every month into 12 months data is equivalent to 6000 GB, which is equivalent to approximately 6 terabyte of data. It is 1 year data. But if you wanted to store 10 years of data, it will become 60 terabytes of data. That data you will not be able to store in your SQL or RDBMS, right? You will not be able to store normal SQL. When you have terabytes of data, we have to use a specialized computers called as data warehouse servers or data warehouse tools. You should not write the space like this. It is warehouse is a single word, right? You will not be able to write like this, or you should not be able to write like this. So it is data Space warehouse is a single word. So where you will be able to store large amount of data, especially terabytes of data, the processing the data, BA tools have been introduced to process your data. Processing means, as I told you, I wanted to perform what is the sum, what is the average, what is the minimum, what is the maximum. If you have some data, you will be able to perform all these things, right? If you ask me what is a data warehouse, so data warehouse means layman terminology. Let me explain. It is going to be having large hardware where you are going to be installing SQL software. Remember, SQL software means either you can install Oracle or SQL Server or DB2, Netezza, any one software you're going to be installing in the large hardware. Let me give you a simple layman explanation so that you will be able to understand it clearly. For example, I have my computer. My computer has 4 GB of RAM and I have 1 TB of hard disk and I have i5 processor. Clear? So this is my computer, configuration. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to install SQL Server or I may install Oracle or SQL Server, Netezza, any one such software I'm going to be installing in my laptop. I'm going to be storing the data. What is the maximum data I can store? 1 TB. Why? This is the maximum capacity, right? This is the maximum capacity. I'm talking about 1 TB of hard disk I have in my computer. Even though I have SQL here, I will be able to only store only this much of a data. But if I go in for, let us say a large hardware, I'm going to be buying 1000 GB of RAM. I'm going to be using 100 TB of hard disk, not only 1 TB, and I'm going to be using 100 processors, not only one processor. Inside this machine, it is going to be calling as a large hardware. Inside that, if I install same SQL software, maybe Oracle, SQL Server, Netezza, some software I'm going to be installing. Since software wise, there is no change at all. Am I clear? Software wise, there is no change at all. But hardware wise, I'm having a large amount of hardware. Clear? So this machine is called as a data warehousing machine. Clear? So people will be saying that Oracle data warehousing server, SQL server data warehousing server, or they'll say DB2 data warehousing server, Teradata data warehousing server. Did you understand clearly? So, when you have a large amount of data, if you wanted to have a small laptop configuration, you will not be able to store the data there. So, you need to buy a large hardware. Am I clear? So in the large hardware, when you install one of these softwares, and that machine is called as a data warehousing Oracle server or data warehousing SQL server. That is what you got to understand. As a layman, what is a data warehousing computer means? You need to know it is going to be having a large hardware, but software wise, same SQL or RDBMS software is going to be installed. That is what you got to understand. So when you have a terabytes of data, this is what you can do. So IT industry is going to be having these kind of a softwares as of now. Am I clear? But today, after year 2000, because of hardware has become so cheaper, right? So IT industry started still, 1920, you got a computer, and 1930, you have a binary language. 1940, there is a language called A. 1950, there is a language called B. 1960, there is a language called C language, which is a more powerful language. Clear? 1970, we got one more language that is advanced C. Clear? So C language has some issues. 1970, we got a language called Advanced C. It is also called as C++, means Advanced C only. 1980s, we got Java. Java is similar to Advanced C, or you can say C++. And 19 Java, and we got Python language as well. In 1990, we got .NET language in the market by Microsoft. Java belongs to Sun Solaris. Python belongs to one more company. C and Advanced C, nothing but C++ invented by Bell Laboratories. Dennis Ritchie is the founder from this C language, right? So this is the history. So we got a language called A and B and C. Only they know how to store the data, how to process the data. In 1970s only, there is a company called IBM company invented a language called SQL to store the data. Clear? IBM company is invented this one in 1970s. When you wanted to store the data, you have to use specialized softwares called as SQL softwares. And only before that, we do not have the storing technologies. We had only languages, not the data storing technologies. Languages are started 1960s onwards, 1940s onwards, but C language was introduced before SQL. We had language only. Clear? But later, if you wanted to store large amount of data, in 1990s we had data warehousing, and BI tools been introduced in year 2000. If you wanted to process your data with the help of a Power BI or Tableau BI, lot of BI tools are there. We are not going to be worrying about that, right? So lot of BI tools there in the market. If you wanted to analyze the data, SAP BI, or we have SAS BI, or we have OBI, right? And we have softwares like MSBI, Microsoft Power BI, Tableau BI. Lot many things are available. Instead of writing your coding, you will be able to analyze your data. Clear? So what is a data analytics also? I will be able to tell you. So data analytics, and we will be able to understand what is data science, and we will be able to understand this is what is called AI and ML, and we will be able to talk about what is data engineering also. Clear? So all of them you need to understand one by one. Data analytics is completely working with the data. AI and ML called data science is also going to work with the data. Data engineering is also going to work with the data. We'll understand one by one. If you wanted to store the data up to terabytes of data, this was the process. But year 2000 onwards, what has happened? So after year 2000, what has happened? After year 2000, social media slowly started. Why social media slowly started? Because internet is available and internet became a cheaper. Now computer hardware is also very cheaper. Because of this, lot of people using started using social media, and internet is available and hardware is cheaper. Everybody is trying to buy the computers and everything. Because of that, data is becoming, every day the size of the data is much more than the expected data. Clear? So we are talking about now large amount of data started coming. It is petabyte of data, zettabyte of data, yottabyte of data, a special name, or yollabyte of data, yottabyte of data. The special name given to this data called as a big data. Clear? So till this data, so it is going to be called as a small data. So small data means what? Maybe megabyte of data, or gigabyte of data, or terabyte of data is called as a small data, right? So after that, either you can store in your Excel sheets, or you may use SQL softwares, or you may be using a data warehousing technologies. But after year 2000, Microsoft started giving you large amount of data when you have it. This is given in year 2003 by Google. Google company told us, "Arey yaar, we are getting large amount of data that you will not be able to store in the normal data warehousing. We have to implement a big data. For storing big data, we need to have a different softwares." Clear? So big data concept has been given by Google company, but year 2006 there is a foundation called Apache Software Foundation. This is not a company, which is a foundation. Foundation means these people are going to be giving you software for free. So these people have given you a software called Apache Hadoop, or you can say Hadoop software, which can store big data, large amount of data, and this also can store large amount of data, and which can also process large amount of data. Clear? When you have a petabyte, zettabyte, yottabyte of data, you will not be able to store them in your data warehousing, because data warehouse is able to maintain only terabytes of data. You assume every day, every month you're getting 1000 GB of data is equivalent to 1 terabyte of data every month, right? If you think about the 12 months data, it will become 12, terabytes of data. So we're talking about either a month, or maybe you're getting every weekly. If you think like that, you will be able to get minimum, every month 4 terabytes you will be able to get. So total data size will be, it will be 48 to 50 terabyte of data per year. We are talking about every year 1000 GB means. Clear? But if you, every week, if you are getting 100 or 10 terabytes of data, 100 terabyte of data, within 1 year, it will become petabyte of data. It will become zettabyte of data because of social media, Facebook data, YouTube data, all the data. You will not be able to store them in your data warehousing. So this kind of a data is called as a big data. If you wanted to store this kind of a data, so we need to implement separate software. The software is called as Apache Hadoop software, which is got released in the year 2006 in the market. That is what you have to know, and you should be able to understand. Clear? So you have if you want to store the data, HDFS is one software has been given to store the data, and the MapReduce has been given if you wanted to process your data. MapReduce is completely Java software. Clear? So these are the things which are available. So as of now into the market. Clear? End of the day, only if you store the data, that is not sufficient, right? You will be able to also process the data. Processing means, as I told you, I have two numbers, 10 and 20 have it. So how to get that total? I have number called 10, I have a number called 20, I have one more number called 15. Like that, I have three numbers. So now I am talking about only three numbers. I wanted to know what is the sum, what is the minimum, what is the maximum, what is the average, what is the mid, what is the median, mode, mid, standard deviation. If you wanted to perform simple things, you will be able to perform when you have a small amount of data. But when you have a large amount of trillions and billions of data, even your normal computers are going to be failing. You have to include bigger computers, plus you need to have a specialized software you need to invent. So those kind of inventions are came into existence in the form of Hadoop in year 2006 by a foundation called Apache. Apache is not a company. Whatever be the software that they're going to be giving, it will be completely free. Clear? Only you need to buy the hardware, install Hadoop, so that you will be able to have large amount of data over there. Now, I will give you simple example so that you can understand. I wanted to go to supermarket from my house. It is only 1 kilometer ahead. So how do I go? I take a bicycle and go, or I take a small, bike and go. I wanted to go to Vizag from Hyderabad. 500 kilometers I wanted to travel. Can I take a cycle and go? No, 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 no. Can I take a bike and go? No, 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 no. We have to use either a car, or we need to buy a bus ticket, or we need to go with the train. So you're going to be changing the tool when the distance is more. I wanted to go to US from India. Can I go by train or the bus or the car? Answer is no. So you have to change the tool. So now we are going to be using what is called as a flight. Clear? So like that, when the data is more, you're going to be using, small means Excel. Some more data means you're going to be using SQL. Some more data means data warehousing. I wanted to go to Mars or Moon. Can I go by a flight? No, 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 no. I have to use a rocket. When you have a large amount of data, we are going to be using Hadoop. Clear? It depends upon the data, what kind of a software the IT industry should use. So till we're talking about 2024, so even today we have only these four technologies. Clear? To store the data, and after that we are going to be processing the data. But only problem with the Hadoop is, if you wanted to work with the Hadoop means you should know Java. Many people replied to Apache company, hey Apache, we cannot learn Java. Java is so complex. That is the reason many people started using Python. Even the Python is introduced in 1980s, it did not become so popular that time. So today, everybody wanted to learn Python because Python is easy when you compare with the Java. Clear? So everybody told Apache company, Apache Foundation, hey, 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 you are telling us to learn the Java and code in the Java, we will not be able to do this. So one disadvantage is that it is going to be storing all the data into the hard disk. This is one disadvantage. One more disadvantage, it is going to be having a code in the Java. These are the two disadvantages. Clear? Because of these disadvantages, what we need to do? Okay, it has become very, very slow. When you have a large amount of data, Hadoop has become very slow because we are going to be storing the data into the Hadoop. Hadoop is going to be storing the data into the hard disk. Clear? Every computer will have hard disk, right? So we are going to be storing the data there. And Java, so much of a coding I need to write, and Java is not suitable language to perform data analytics or AI applications. Many people said this is very, very slow. Immediately, Apache Software Foundation, this organization, immediately, year 2009, they have released one more software called Apache Spark. Clear? They have released one more software called Apache Spark. Hadoop is going to be storing the data into the HDFS and processing the data. Map reduces Java. But here, Apache, now Hadoop is going to be storing the data into the disk and the Java. So Apache Spark is introduced by these people only, Apache company. And if you wanted to deal with the data, they told you don't store the data into the hard disk, we will be able to give you RAM. So, and don't learn Java language, we will be able to give you a new language called Scala. Scala is very, very easy. Scala is very, very easy. Everybody is appreciated. Hey, hey, good, good, good. So now I will be able to get the data, store the data into the RAM of my computer, and it is 100 times faster. Clear? 100 times faster. Because of that, 2009 onwards, entire IT industry wanted to store the data into the a software called Apache Spark software. So, which is a free software. Right? I told you Apache software is a foundation. It is going to be giving you free software. Hadoop is also free. Apache Spark, this is also free. If you wanted to store large amount of data, today IT industry is going to be using Apache Spark. But you need to have hardware, right? So software is there, but you need to buy large amount of hardware. So people are buying a lot of machines, and installing the Apache Spark and try to use that. Clear? If you buy a machine and try to use the software, and if you have to maintain, it is your machine, your computer, your data. If you maintain, that is what is called on premises big data software. On premises means you have to buy the hardware. Software is free, you can install the software. For the maintaining the data computers, you need to have power supply, you have to have lot of other things. So maintaining everything locally on your premises own will be difficult. So we have Azure and we have AWS GCP. Google Cloud is introduced. Yesterday's demo you have to watch to understand what is the cloud fundamentals, what is Azure, what is Apache, what is GCP, Google Cloud, what is you know um, AWS. I have clearly explained in the yesterday's demo. So those are called cloud computers are available. So instead of buying your own servers, what people are telling, hey, you go to Azure and get the 50 machines or 100 machines and install your Apache Spark so that you can maintain a cloud computing, cloud Spark software. Clear? Instead of buying your own hardware, on-premises hardware, you go to Amazon company, go to AWS and install Apache Spark in 100 machines. You don't install. So you go to Amazon company, you ask, hey, I need 100 machines. I need to have Apache Spark and to be installed there. Means Amazon company is going to be installing and everything. They will be able to give you 100 machines. You can use the machines. You need to pay the rental amount every month. Clear? So Apache Spark or Hadoop or data warehouse, everything can be on premises or everything can be rental based. Hadoop can be on premises or the rental. Apache also on premises or the rental. Rental means a cloud. Even data warehousing can be own. Own means on premises. Data warehousing also can be rental. Means it can be there in Azure or AWS today. So today, one more company came in when in 2012. Okay, one more company in 2012 it came. That company introduced what is called a data bricks. Clear? The company introduced data bricks. So what is the advantage of a data bricks? Data bricks will be uh, enabling you to install Apache Spark software in the rental platforms. That is what it is going to be doing. So what is the Databricks? Databricks is a broker, or you can say agent. So Databricks is agent or the broker. So what it will do? It will go to Azure. It will go to Azure. This is Azure machine, right? So Azure will have rental machines, or you will have a lot of computers in the AWS. You can go to AWS. So when you take Databricks, this guy will be installing Apache Spark, everything here, and he will be giving you either Databricks software is going to be going to Azure, installing Apache Spark there, or a Databricks software can go to AWS and install Apache Spark so that you will be able to work with either AWS or Azure. So what is the Databricks? Databricks will be enabling you to install or set up the cloud environment. Remember that. For example, you wanted to go to somewhere, right? You wanted to book the room, you wanted to book the flight ticket. So everything doing on your own is difficult, right? What we do? We call tours and travels. Hey, I wanted to go to Singapore. I need flight tickets. I need hotel rooms. I need everything. So what normally they're doing? They don't have hotels. They don't have flights. They will be able to book everything. Instead of you booking, they will be able to book everything. So that is what is called tours and travels. So Databricks is not a it's not a software. It is a some kind of a environment, or you can say platform. So what it does? So it is going to be travel. Your tours and travels guy. Tours and travels guy, you tell me what is that you wanted to go. You wanted to go to Singapore or you wanted to go to Malaysia? How many people? What is the starting date, ending date, everything? What is the budget? If you tell, they will be able to accommodate and they will plan your tour like that. Databricks guys have invented some platform. Using that, you will be able to go to either Azure or you will be able to go to AWS. You will be able to get the computers and Apache Spark will get installed there. Clear? So that is what a Databricks, when you are learning, you're going to be dealing with the large amount of data. So you may have Azure Databricks or you may have AWS Databricks. Databricks means what? Internally, you're going to be dealing with the Apache Spark only. Remember this point. Clear? So Databricks is a software which will enable you to install the Apache Spark, in the cloud environment. Enables you to get the cloud environment. Get the cloud environment. It will install what? Apache Spark. What is the purpose of Apache Spark? Because if you want to store large amount of data, now normal data warehousing is cannot be used. So we are going to be using what is called Databricks today. Databricks, when you use it, it is going to be either we can have Azure Databricks or we can have AWS or GCP. I'm going to be using Azure. So the Databricks, this platform is going to be taking machines from the Azure company. It is going to be giving you Apache Spark setup. A couple of machines, it is going to be giving it to you. So you go to the Databricks tomorrow, you're going to be working with the Databricks. If you're going to be working with the Databricks means internally, you are going to be working with the Apache Spark only. Clear? So what languages you can use here? Spark language or Spark with Scala language we can use, or many people have to use SQL and Python also you can use, right? Because Python is easy. Python also, even Java also you can use, but Java is very, very difficult. R also you can use. So any language you can use with the Apache Spark. Clear? So Python plus Spark you're going to be using. It is called as a PySpark. Clear? So we are going to be using PySpark. And when you're learning a Databricks means we're going to be talking about what? Big data concept only. When you have a large amount of data, we have to store the data into the Apache Spark, but the storing and everything can be done automatically with the help of. So we are going to be using all the things, all the things we're going to be setting up with the Apache Spark. Apache Spark means you need to know Azure Databricks or maybe AWS Databricks we are going to be using. So Databricks means what? Internally, we are going to be dealing with the Apache Spark only. Clear? When you have a large amount of data, these things we are going to be using. That's what you need to understand. What is a data analytics means understanding the past. Understand past is called data analytics. And what is data science or AML? Predict the future predictions I want to know. So what is a data engineering? Data engineering means get the data, clean the data, store the data in these platforms. Clear? So you may be getting the data, storing the data, all the data, you will be able to keep them where? So you may, if it is a small amount of data, small means I'm talking about Excel data, you are going to be using in your Excel sheets. When you have a medium sized data, so small data, medium data means I'm going to be keeping the data in SQL. This is KBs of data or megabyte of data. So this is GBs of data, right? When you have a large data, large means size L. So this will be stored in the data warehousing machines. Here we're talking about terabytes of data. Till this, we are completely talking about small data, right? So till this, we are going to be talking about what small data up to this, and all the data we are talking about only structured data. Structured means what? It is completely row and column data, data which is there in the table data is called as a structured data. So year 1950 or 1920 or 1962 till year 2000, this was a story, right? So year 2000 onwards, people are started using big data. Big data means what? It is not only structured data, it is semi-structured data. Your charting, chart messages, XML files, all of them, you have unstructured data. Unstructured data means we are talking about your images, photos, audio files, video files, all of them are unstructured data. You have a structured data, unstructured data, and semi-structured data. All the data, we will be able to store them in your a big data. That is, we are going to be using Hadoop. If not Hadoop, we are going to be using today Spark. Clear? So Spark can be implemented with the help of a Databricks software. Clear? So when you are learning a Databricks, what all the things you're going to be learning? You're going to be learning SQL, you need to know Python, you have to know everything. Clear? So who's going to be getting a large amount of data, dealing with the data means, so the IT engineer or a software engineer get the data from Excel, SQL, all the data. You may be able to store it here. You may be able to store it here. And this data can be used tomorrow by two people, either AI people or BI people. AI means artificial intelligence or BI means data analytics. Clear? Data analytics is also called as a business intelligence. Okay. Business intelligence. Simply, I will be able to write BI. So, who's going to be supplying the data for AI and BI, guys? You have to know. So, one guy called data engineer, he will be able to get the data from the different sources. So, you may be getting the data from SQL and you may be getting the data from data warehousing, or you will be able to create a bigger Apache Spark. You will be able to store the data. So end of the day, data engineering is the guy who's going to be supplying the data to the data analyst or the data scientist or AI and ML. What is the data analytics? Understanding the past. What is the meaning of that? Amazon company wanted to know what was my business in year 2010. What was my business last 5 years? So I wanted to understand the past. That is what was called data analytics. What will be my sales in next 5 years in India? I wanted to predict how many people may die in India next 5 years due to heart attack. I wanted to understand the population data of India and obesity data. I will be able to take it. I will be able to predict how many are going to die in next 5 years because of diabetic. How many people may get into cardiac arrest? How many people may lose their kidneys or kidney failure will happen because of diabetics. All the data, population data, diseases data, when you give, I can be predicting. So predictions can be done with the help of AI and ML. Clear? So if you wanted to predict something or if you wanted to understanding the past, you need to have the data. Who's going to be supplying the data? That is we. So you should know SQL, you should know Python, you should know data warehousing, you should know Apache Spark or Databricks. Clear? So then only you can become a data engineer. So data engineer is the guy who's going to be supplying the data to the AI guys or the BI guys. Business intelligence means data analytics. Clear? Without a data engineer, you will not be able to perform data analytics or anything. Chart GPT is what? Chart GPT is an AI application. From where it is getting the data, do you know? Chart GPT is a AI application. The Chat GPT is getting a large amount of data from directly from Apache Spark. Clear? If somebody is typing and asking something here, Chat GPT is providing a lot of things to the end user, but Chat GPT's data is being maintained by data engineering team. Chat GPT's data is maybe 1,000 petabyte of data. 1,000 petabyte means it is equivalent to hundreds of Himalaya size. Remember that. It is not a small data. 100, 500 Himalayas size. If you take the data, cut the data into DVDs, and you need to store the data. DVD by DVD means that is the size you're going to be getting. So this much of a data normal people cannot store. Chat GPT belong to Microsoft company and other companies. So bigger companies like Google and Microsoft or Facebook people will be able to create a big machines with the help of a Apache Spark, right? Apache Spark is going to be used today to work with the large amount of data. So on top of the Spark machines or the clusters, Chat GPT applications can run or your AI can run. So with a small amount of data, AI cannot run clearly, or even data analytics cannot be done when you have a small amount of data. If you have a large amount of data, proper accuracy will be there. More amount of data analytics or data science or AI and ML can be done very, very easily. So today, AI is going to rock. So AI means AI needs a large amount of data. So we are going to be working with the SQL. We are going to be working with the data warehousing. We are going to be working with the structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. So large amount of data can be stored in the Apache Spark with the help of a data bricks. Am I clear? So you will become a data engineer. You have to maintain SQL, data warehousing, Hadoop, Spark, data bricks. Clear? So that is what you got to understand today. Clear? So data engineering is the guy who's going to be collecting the data, cleaning the data, right? And loading the data, and is going to be storing the data. Where you store? Either maybe data warehousing or you may be storing in Apache Spark. Clear? One of the machines are going to be storing your data. So you are going to be performing what is called as a ETL or ELT. I have some amount of data. Amazon company will tell you large amount of data I have, but all my data is not available in a single machine. I have some data in India, I have some data in US, I have some data in Dubai, I have some data in many places, right? So in India, I am storing in SQL. In India, in US, in India, I may be using Java servers. In Dubai, I may be having my data in Excel sheets. So all the data you will be able to get it. So with the help of ETL tools, what tools we're going to be using? ETL tools. ETL stands for extracting the data, transforming the data, loading the data. Where will you load the data? So initially, if it is a structured data, all the data is going to go to your data warehousing machines. Clear? So earlier we were using a tool called Microsoft SSIS, which was a on-premises ETL tool. ETL stands for what? Extracting the data. Get the data from here, and a transform means get the data from here, get the data from here. That is collecting. ETL means extract the data, extracting the data. Transformation means clean the data. So you may have the bad data. So what normally you do? You're going to be deleting duplicates, or when you have a misspelled data, you need to correct the spelling mistake. Duplicate data you have to delete. So that is what is called transformation. Then all the data you're going to be loading. Loading where? Into the data warehousing. So data warehouse will be getting every month. When you get a 500 GB of data this month, every month the 31st, this is going to be switching on. Get all the data here. It is going to be storing data into the data warehousing. Again next month, 31st, you will be able to get the data. Again 500 GB of data will go. So every month data will be available in the data warehousing, but data warehouse is going to be having a structured data. Okay, so SSIS was the on-premises ETL software from Microsoft and which is launched in the year 2005. So cloud is introduced in the 2010. If you wanted to get the data from the cloud environment, I have data in Azure, I have data in AWS. I wanted to get the data from there means your SSIS is going to be failing. That is the reason in year 2015, Microsoft has given you ADF software. It is released in 2015. Clear? So you will be able to get all the data. So with the help of this, not only this, you can also connect to the cloud environment. Okay, to the cloud environments, get all the data. You will be able to store the data into the data warehousing, or if you wanted to store your data into the cloud means I would like to store in Azure, or Azure means rental platform, or I want to store the data in AWS or GCP means your SSIS cannot work. Your ADF will be able to get the data from. It can work with the normal data warehouse, or it can work with the cloud platforms as well. It can get the data from on premises. It can also get the data from the cloud to cloud to on premises. Anything ADF can work. SSIS cannot be connecting to your cloud environment and store the data. So that is the reason many people stopped using SSIS. SSIS is a ETL tool, given by Microsoft in 2005. But today we have ADF software that is there. So which software is going to be used? So to perform the ETL operations. Yeah, am I clear? You may be storing the data into the data warehouse or Azure. Azure you may be storing the data into the bigger machines, rental machines. This may be your Apache Spark. Clear? Your Apache Spark you're going to be using. So you will be able to store the data here. Apache Spark means I'm talking about data bricks. Clear? So Databricks can get large amount of data from ADF. ADF can get large amount of data, which is going to be putting the data here. Later, Apache Spark can store the data, and Apache Spark also can process the data. Clear? What is ADF? ADF is a transport service or a lorry service. I have rice bags in Delhi. I have rice bags in Warangal. I have rice bags in Pune, everywhere. So what I do, I call a lorry transport service. You go to Delhi, you go to Kanpur, Pune, Hyderabad. All the rice bags you will going to be collecting and dumping into central machine. Clear? So that is what is called ADF or SSIS. ETL means data importing exporting software. Lorry transport software. It is ETL. So in your body there is a ETL, right? Blood is going to be circulated by your ETL. ETL means heart. Clear? Pumping the blood from one place to another place. Clear? So before pumping, what you do? You're going to be cleaning the blood in the kidney. Kidney where the blood is going to be cleaned. ETL means your heart. Heart is going to be pumping the blood to the different parts. Clear? Like that. ETL means it is completely getting the data, cleaning the data, pumping the data to the destination. Clear? If it is a small data, you can keep the data into the data warehousing. But data warehouse cannot store structure, only store structured data, unstructured, semi-structured, or if it is a big amount of data, even data warehousing I cannot use. I need to go to Azure and AWS. Within Azure, I will be able to use Apache Spark and I will be able to store large amount of data. Further, I can do the processing with the help of if I store the data in the Databricks, so tomorrow I'll be processing. So what is ADF? ADF is nothing but a transport service, lorry transport service. ETL means that. Clear? So what is the Databricks? Databricks is nothing but which is going to be giving you environment with the Apache Spark in the lot of machines. Clear? So where you can store large amount of data, later you can store the data. If you wanted to process the data, large amount of data when you have it, so you're storing the data here. Tomorrow, what you do? You're going to be processing the data, store and process. Here also, you're going to be storing the data. You're going to be processing the data. If I have 10 and a 20, I wanted to know what is the total 30. 30 is a processing, right? So only storing the data is not sufficient. You have to process the data. So when you have tons and tons of data, your data warehousing cannot be used, right? So when you have the data here, so data warehousing and Spark can be used. On top of that, we are going to be using what is called AI and BI. AI and BI can use your data. Clear? So data may be coming from data warehousing, or data may be coming from Azure Apache Spark. So finally, all the data will be used by the data analytics team or data analytics team or data science team. Clear? You may get the data from the data warehousing and you can predict, or you can perform data analytics, means understanding the past, or you may be getting the giving the data from the Apache Spark. Spark means it is a big data, large amount of data. I have it, right? So like that, tomorrow who's going to be using the data? Your AI team or the BA team is going to be using. Who's going to be supplying the data? That's the supply chain management will be done by the data engineering. Data engineers are nothing but a supply chain management in your ERP systems. Okay, you collect the data from different sources and you're going to be cleaning the data, and either you can maintain the data warehousing systems or you're going to be maintaining the data into the cloud environments. So you need to know SQL very well, data warehousing very well, ETL concept we're going to be learning. So SSIS we are not going to be learning. We are going to be learning ADF, Azure Data Factory, which can be used to connect with the different cloud environment and on premises also. What is ETL or what is ADF means, which is a lorry service, a transport service. What is a data bricks means, it can store large amount of data. It is a go down service. You can think like that. Okay. In the go down, you're going to be storing large amount of data. After that, you also process the data, not only store, but also process the data. So storing and processing can be done in your Apache Spark. Apache Spark, if you wanted to get it, you use Databricks software. So you have to learn SQL, Python, and Apache Spark and PySpark and Python language. All of them are needed in order to become a data engineer. ADF, if you wanted to learn, you have to know SQL only, nothing else. If you wanted to learn Databricks or Apache Spark, means you need to know Python also. Python, Scala, all of them we're going to be learning. Am I clear? So any questions you have? So
What
these
is
are the things that you need to know. Yeah, tell me.
what is Snowflake data warehouse?
Snowflake, however, you have Azure is giving you a rental platform. Snowflake is the company is going to be giving you rental data warehouse. Okay. So what is a Snowflake means what? You need to create a data warehouse. Either you can buy computer, you can install Oracle SQL Server, you can run it. That is one thing. Second thing, you can go to Azure, get the rental machine, and you need to prepare on your own. Third one, you need to go to AWS and get the rental machines. So you can prepare data warehousing there. Snowflake is one more company is telling you, hey, you come to me, I will give you everything for rental. You need not prepare. I will be preparing everything for you and giving it to you. That is what is called Snowflake. That means what? You can take a rental house, and after that you buy TV, you buy refrigerator, you buy everything and set up and use it. That is one thing. But one more guy is telling you, I will give you one rental house, but where everything is available. You have a TV is there, furniture is there, everything is there. Simply you come and use. That is what is called Snowflake. Okay. So what is a rental platform? Azure is giving you only rental. You need to go and create your own data warehouse. You need to configure. You need to buy TV. You have to install TV. You need to buy bed. You need to install ACs. Everything in the rental environment that you need to take care. But somebody is telling you, we will installing everything. We'll increase the rent. You come and join. That is what is called Snowflake data warehouse. This is a cloud data warehouse and ready-made data warehouse. It is clear. So if you wanted to become a data engineering guy, you have to learn all these things. So these are the things we are going to be covering as part of this. So today is the last demo. SQL videos will be given, and Python, Azure Data Factory, Databricks means PySpark, Azure Synapses. I'm not going to be covering. One more trend is going to be lectures we are going to be providing as part of this course. Data warehousing concepts also will get covered. These are free. Only for these four you need to be charged, and we're going to be charging. We can make the payments in installments mode. This is what is called data engineering. And so if you wanted to know Azure Databricks, where we are going to be Python and PySpark, all of them will come in the Databricks. That will be after 30 years. First of all, we're going to be starting with the Azure Data Factory, which is a completely no coding, low coding software, but you should know SQL. So parallelly, you have to attend a daily 1 hour class with this, and one class of this one you need to watch, because we're going to be giving you recorded videos, right? So if you know basics, that is not sufficient to crack the job. You need to know in depth of SQL. 60 to 70% of the questions are going to be coming from SQL. So must know in depth of SQL, that we're going to be covering. If you wanted to learn Azure Databricks, you should know SQL and Python as well. So data warehousing at the end, we are going to be giving. So all these things you need to learn, so that you can work with the Azure Data Engineering role in your company. If you want to become a data analyst, so no coding, SQL, Power BI, one ETL tool, SSIS or Data Factory you need to learn, and the remaining data warehousing. This is data analytics software that you can learn. So this is no, very little coding when you compare with the data engineering. Engineering will have more and more coding, especially in the Python. So when you go to the Databricks, it's completely coding. You cannot say without coding you cannot run. But Azure Data Factory, completely no coding. Anybody can learn this. Clear? So here you have to do the coding in the data engineering, but data analytics means Power BI and everything. And SQL is the common everywhere. SQL, Power BI, ETL is common. We are not going to be learning this. You can go in for on-premises tool and SSIS in data warehousing. So this is also 3 months course, and no coding, low coding means you can opt for this course, or you can opt for the data engineering course. So tomorrow your meeting ID will change, and will continue with the new meeting ID. Payment details, everything will be sent probably by tomorrow morning. So you will be able to call on these numbers, right? If you don't get the payment links means, right? Or you can also mail me, or if you wanted to talk to me directly, so I can share my number. You can also call me on this number if you have any doubts anytime. So lab doubts, you need to call me, so that we can connect one to one and clarify all lab doubts. Clear? So one free project is included, assignments are included, and CV preparation, everything is included. At the end, we are going to be providing all those things. Assignments will start from the day one itself. Yeah, am I clear? So everything will be included. So these are the things I'm going to be covering. If you have any questions, you will be able to ask me now. Clear? So daily 1 hour, Monday to Friday, we'll have classes. Daily recorded videos are going to be provided. 6 months validity for the videos and the course as well. Okay. So we discussed about what is a big data, what is ETL, what is ELT. Tomorrow I will be able to discuss, and types of cloud I will be able to discuss in tomorrow's class. We'll continue in tomorrow's class. And on premises and versus cloud, I was talking about this. So cloud will be less budget, reduced cost, less maintenance, no downtime, high availability, data replication. All these things are advantage for the cloud, right? So ETL ADF is released 2015. It's an Azure service, extracting the data, transforming the data, loading the data. Big data requires service that can blah blah blah. We'll discuss about lot of things. But SSIS cannot load semi-structured, unstructured data, not suitable for the cloud, not suitable for the big data, limited data sources, on-premises solution. So this was the tool given by Microsoft prior to ADF. Chalo guys. Any other questions you have?
Sir,
Tell me.
sir, as you mentioned, Apache Spark is open source, right?
Yeah.
So why Microsoft need Databricks for Apache Spark? Why can't Microsoft use directly Apache Spark?
Microsoft is a cloud provider. He's not going to be doing any setup for you. Clear? He's going to be giving you some storage services. Clear?
But they also have other softwares, right?
Yeah, they will give you software. See, it will be like that. If you wanted to book a train ticket, you can go to reservation counter and book it. You can go to online also, you can book it, right? But tomorrow, if you wanted to cancel something, you have to go online and you need to do a lot of circus, right? But normally what we do, we go to the agent. Agent also, end of the day, he has to go to the reservation counter or online, he will be able to make the payment. If there's a problem, you can ask the agent, he will be doing a lot of other circus. If there's a problem tomorrow, Databricks will be taking care of a lot of internal things that you need not worry about it. Clear? So code maintenance, code easiness, lot of other things Databricks is going to be enabling, and it is going to be setting up bigger, environment for you, installing and patching work, everything Databricks is going to be, giving it to you. So that is the reason many companies are going to be using third-party Databricks. So you may use Azure or you may use AWS. Databricks is going to be going there, and it is going to be setting up a environment for you to work on. Clear? Chalo. Very good.
Sir, I have one question.
Hmm.
Data engineering, you said like in screenshot, 3 months, right? So SQL 30 hours, Python 30 hours. When you start ADB, we should have knowledge on Python and SQL at any cost.
Yeah, Python is very, very easy. You can just, at least some basic understanding of Python when you have it, that will be good. Okay,
But
not
it
that
is
complex.
having so much syllabus, right? Python, core Python, advanced
No,
Python,
we
then
are not going to be taking a full stack Python here because full stack Python will be 6 months course. Okay,
okay,
we need
okay,
basics of Python.
okay, okay.
3 days of Python. Otherwise, you need to join 6 months only in the Python classes, right?
Yeah, okay. So
Totally
do
different.
we have like what are the concepts we need for this course? I
Very
mean,
basic loops and variables, and that's it. Very basic, Python programming. Some
okay,
basic
okay,
libraries, SQL libraries, that's it.
okay. So Azure Data Factory, Databricks, you are going to take, right? Remaining we need to go through videos, right?
Correct.
Okay. How many years we can put sir experience
Minimum
generally?
3 to maximum 5, 6, 7, you can just include, but I strongly recommend you go at least the 3 years of experience can showcase.
Okay,
Minimum 15 to 20 lakhs you can expect in Indian market.
okay.
Yeah.
And one more question, sir. Like, if they ask like current activities, sometimes uh, if you are working means like you are able to tell updated. I mean, a real time work, a real time concepts, right?
Right.
So in interviews, if they ask any like a real time topics, means how we can handle. So
So whatever we are giving completely real-time topics only. So 100% topics we are going to be covering from the real-time oriented methodology only. Okay. You don't get any bookish knowledge here because bookish knowledge means you will not be able to crack the interviews. Okay. So they'll ask you more and more questions from our syllabus only. So 90% of the time you will be able to get from our syllabus. That's what the people who cracked the interview, they're able to say. Okay. Na? So we're going to be giving projects, assignments on daily basis. You will be able to easily interviews. Okay.
okay. Is there any mentor, sir? Like, say whenever you are busy, right, with training. So whenever we got any doubts,
Yeah, I will
like,
be
is there
there for
any?
you to help. And if you have some people who are already working,
Okay,
my students, I will be able to ask them so that they can guide sometimes. people who are currently
Okay.
working with the companies. Yeah.
Okay. I think we don't have institute, right? We need to only
Yeah.
work with online only, right?
Correct.
Everything.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Any other questions you have, guys?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, is SSIS is still relevant to learn?
SSIS data analytics people are learning, but since you're going to be learning Azure Data Engineering, for you it is not relevant. But data analytics guys, many companies are using on-premises ETL tools there. Okay, na? For them it will be useful.
So it is better to learn SSIS.
Yeah, if you're coming from the data analytics and if you want to work with the data analytics, SSIS, many companies even today they're asking. So one guy, Akshay, got a job only on SSIS 30 lakhs package. He got it. He put only 3.5 years of experience. And one more guy, he's also got 19.2 and he was BCom guy, only learning SSIS and SQL, right? So even today, SSIS is more hot and more opportunities and more salaries also companies are giving because not everybody has moved to cloud. Many companies are still using on-premises storage, on-premises ETL. Everything is, even today, the companies are using. Okay. Sure.
Sir, how you are going to start first Azure Data Factory or?
Yeah. Azure Data Factory, we're going to be starting from tomorrow. I'll be telling you how to create an Azure account in tomorrow's class. Okay. So
Okay.
that is what will be the
Sir,
first
for
one.
data analytics guy also need to learn this ADF, Azure Data Factory.
If you know SSIS only, then learn. Otherwise, not. Okay, na?
Okay.
Don't come into ADF
who-
directly if you're a data analyst. So I strongly recommend to you learn SSIS first. Okay, na? Chalo. Any other
Sir,
questions you have?
for only ADF, can we learn and can we get a job, or
So
do we need to
only
learn
ADF will be
ADB
difficult.
also?
Only ADF may be difficult. You need to have Power BI, SQL, like that, Python. These combinations people will be asking. Only ADF will be difficult. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
Are you going to provide SSIS videos?
No, SSIS is not part of this course, right? So it is completely, we are going to be giving you this. It is for the
No,
data
if we
engineering.
want to buy, do you
You can
have
buy
that SSIS
anything, right?
videos?
Yeah, you can buy SSIS
Okay.
videos and you can watch. That is also fine,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. Chala. Anything else, guys?